rejection. I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, boxes. I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted, exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. No, you cannot stop it.
Good morning, Knicks universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks Morning Brew on this Friday, January 26th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, hanging out with my compañeros. I got my guy Phil, all caps, and I got my guy Jiggaman Porto, and I got my guy the Brooklyn Brawler, Jerry Ferrara himself, and we are here for a special episode. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing good. First off, big Knicks win last night. We're going to definitely talk about that. I appreciate you guys at Morning Brew giving me the floor here. We've been talking about this since yesterday. I appreciate you guys clearing the decks for a few minutes because we got an interesting guest before we get into the open panel. Chris Mannix, senior writer, SI. I've been friends with him for a long time, reading his stuff for a long time. But, man, we've been at odds with each other. And he threw the first kamikaze video at me questioning Knicks fans. And he agreed to come on and kind of debate live for a road game. And I think he's backstage already. So before we get to open panel, him and I are going to have it out because this is real. This is a real disagreement. And I appreciate you guys giving me this opportunity live to do it.
Well, of course, bro. See, and I was confused though. Like, I didn't know if you guys like needed a moderator. So like, I brought the suit jacket just to be ready. You know, if you need it
up. Is he backstage though? Like, is he?
Chris is backstage.
He's back. We're gonna set it up ourselves. So I know you got a video you want to play, folks in the chat. If you guys can smack that like button. We got over 40 people in the building. If you're watching us on Instagram, Facebook, on X, click the link in the bio. Come on over to YouTube. This is the fun part of it. You guys are gonna watch this conversation with Jerry and Chris. And if you guys want to throw some trash cans in the chat to let them know how you feel, let them know how you feel. Go ahead, so my fault.
All right, so Jerry, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the video so people can see Chris's take, and then we're gonna bring Chris up. We're gonna let you guys ride. All right,
bring him up.
All right, let's check it out.
We in the back.
Here we go. Maybe.
Clobber Knicks fans a little bit, especially my good friend Jerry Ferrara. At last count, in the NBA's last released vote count, Jalen Brunson was well behind, some of the top guys in the voting, including Trae Young, who's been, good, but he's on a really crappy team. The argument that, Jerry and others have made to me is that, it's a popularity contest. It's global. It's yada, yada, yada. You are the New York Knicks. All right. You are one of the NBA. Your guy, your number one option should not be losing the fan vote to Tyrese Maxey. I'm sorry. They should not. Jalen Brunson being 700,000 votes behind Trae Young and 600,000 votes behind Damian Lillard and 300,000 votes behind Donovan Mitchell. That's on you, Knicks fans. Where are you? Like, they have like these nights in the NBA where 3 votes count for 1. You can't put together a campaign to get this guy at the top of the ballot. Don't tell me that. Knicks fans their reach is far and wide. They should have been voting for Jalen Brunson for All-Star.
There he is. What's up, Chris? How you doing?
It's good to talk to, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the reasons that Jalen Brunson is not an all-star starter this year.
So before we get going, though, for the record, you voted, because you are media, you voted for Jalen Brunson. So this isn't a personal, you like Brunson, you're a fan. You voted for him.
I think Jalen Brunson had, outside of Tyrese Halliburton, has had the second most impactful year as a guard. I gave him the edge over Donovan Mitchell, who would have been my third choice, but I think he played like 10 less games than Brunson, which was a bit of a difference maker for me. Lillard is still Lillard, but I think Brunson's clearly had a better first half of the season. So yeah, Jalen Brunson was my guy.
So let's get into this, because I've obviously, we know each other for a long time. I'm a fan of yours. And we know you're a Celtics fan. We're not going to say that bleeds into why you decided to clobber Knicks fans. How is Jalen Brunson not getting enough of the fan vote on Knicks fans? Because what I want to say to you is, I hit you with the popularity contest, all that. And you don't want to hear it. And I have some facts and issues I'd love to get your take on in the past that maybe shows an example for what I'm saying. So when you said Knicks fans' reach is far and wide, what the F does that mean? Like, am I supposed to get Ben Stiller and Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld and go shoot PSAs about why we should all go vote for Jalen Brunson? What do you mean by Knicks fans reach as far and wide?
No, that wasn't what I was referring to. I was referring to the fact that outside of perhaps the Lakers, I think the Knicks have one of the bigger national fan bases. I think there's more interest in the Knicks nationally than any outside the Lakers. Look, the Knicks,
they've been in the gutter for a long time, Chris. They took away the Christmas game away from the Knicks. They took the Christmas Day game away until this year.
Have you seen the numbers, though, of national TV games? They played 25 national TV games this year. So there's plenty of exposure.
Right.
Okay, but there's plenty of exposure for the Knicks. Let's not act like the Knicks are this quirky upstart of a franchise, right? Like they are.
But I don't think they're the second most. I think your Celtics are probably the second most covered, talked about franchise. They've been in finals games, Eastern Conference Finals. You made the point on text, like, well, Jaylen Brown. How does Jaylen Brown have so many votes? We've been watching Jaylen Brown in the playoffs, in Eastern Conference Finals, in finals. We talked about this contract, which was the biggest ever for a year. He's gotten, I get it. He's not a household name. We talk about Jaylen Brown for a long time now, way longer than Jalen Brunson, who's been overlooked at every single step of his career, nationally, media-wise.
I mean, you can't really say that when he finished. What did he finish? Second in the media vote? Like, you can't say he's been overlooked. Till now. He was properly feted in by the media in this vote. Where he was not respected was by the fans. And can we just, before we go any further, can we just stipulate that the reason Jalen Brunson is not an all-star starter is because of the fan vote? We can stipulate that, right?
And we can also stipulate that the fan vote being responsible for 50% of the actual reason why people are starters is a ridiculous way to conduct an actual who deserves the spot competition. I mean, can we stipulate that?
There's no good way to do it. It used to be 100% of the fan vote. Now they dipped it down to 50. I think it's a fan game.
It'll probably be 25% next year. I used to go vote in Foot Locker where you have to get the cards and punch the votes. Like, I've been a part of the voting process since I was 10 years old.
Right. All right, but hold on. We'll stipulate if Jalen Brunson did better in the fan vote, if he had passed Damian Lillard in the fan vote, he would be the all-star starter.
Correct.
Now, my issue with you, Jerry, is that, well, it's a couple of things. One, you have created this reality that Jalen Brunson was somehow millions of votes behind the leaders in the vote-getting category, and that there was
700,000 behind Dame. 700,000
is in the grand scheme of things, that is a small number for Knicks fans. How many Knicks fans watch MSG Network every single night? How many Knicks fans roll into Madison Square Garden every single night? Jerry, this is not an election. You're not only allowed to vote once. You can go on your laptop or on your phone. This isn't the 1990s where you had to go into Foot Locker and punch a ballot and submit it that way. All Knicks fans had to do was to go onto a website and spend 35 seconds. I clocked it one time.
I've done it.
35 seconds. Vote. You've done it. 35 seconds voting for Jalen Brunson, and they didn't do it. Not en masse. And I don't understand the dichotomy of all this, because Knicks fans are lunatics. You are all nuts. Like, what I've told you this over text. One of my best friends is a Knicks fan, and he goes to half the Knicks games. He goes to road games. He was at the Sixer game recently in Philly. He went to Dallas for the game. I have a picture in my phone of this guy in LA yelling at Leon Rose a couple of years ago because he was sitting a few rows behind him because he didn't like the moves that they were making. You Knicks fans organized en masse to go after Candace Parker when she degraded your favorite player on social media, yet you can't seem to find it within yourself to spend 35 seconds voting for this guy once or twice a week. So when I put it all on Knicks fans, I'm doing that because it was only a 700,000 vote gap that Knicks fans, given just their local fan base, could have made up in a New York minute.
See, this is where we clash, because only 700,000, that's almost double the total amount of votes that he got. So you're talking about 700,000 votes. I can't even get 50 people to show up to a fucking birthday party. And you're trying to say we should organize to get 700,000 more votes from Knicks fans only. So I ask you this, because what you're saying is, how did Dame get those votes? And how in 2021, okay, with the Brooklyn Nets, let's talk about a fandom, maybe not even of 700,000. And as we all saw, Knicks versus Nets last night, their best player said how a bummer it is to have 95% Knicks fans. How in 2021 was Kevin Durant number one in votes? Kyrie Irving, who was not beloved in New York in 2021, let alone most of the rest of the country, was number one in backcourt votes. James Harden, not the favorite Brooklyn player of all time, number three. Are we saying the Brooklyn Net New Yorkers got them there to be the number one vote getter in the entire Eastern Conference?
Of course not.
So how did it happen? How did they get that many votes?
The names that you just mentioned,
right,
are national and global brands that have been national and global brands for some time. Again, I hearken back to the original point of, I can't believe you just said I can't get 50 people to go to a party. That's people getting people to actually show up. I'm talking about these guys who are watching this stream right now, many of them who did not vote, sitting on their phone or laptop and pressing a button. Those guys you mentioned got their support because they have years of building a brand that fans have become attached to.
Thank you.
What I'm arguing is that Knicks fans with an enormous local fan base who watch games by the millions, who are as supportive of this team as any fan base in the NBA, they could have made up the difference. You could have come up with 700,000. Jerry, voting went on for 6 weeks. Like
two more things. Number one, Damian Lillard, top 75 NBA player of all time, who has his own Dame time. He has more streams on Spotify in his hip-hop career than most up-and-coming rappers. He has his own shoe deal, which I have one of his shoes. You're going to say that Damian, maybe he's not Kevin Durant level brand. He's a bigger name than Kyrie Irving. We know Kyrie Irving for a lot of different reasons. So in terms of who you're more likely to vote for, Damian Lillard is a huge. By the way, Damian Lillard deserves it. The Bucks have this weird thing going on because they had to fire their coach and the vibes aren't good. They're still 30-13. And when you put Dame and Brunson's numbers side by side, they're almost identical. But I think Brunson being the number one player on his team and Dame being probably, the two because of Giannis, is maybe where you make the argument. I don't look at it as like a major loss that Lillard made the All-Star starting lineup over Brunson, and I don't look at it. It's 700,000 votes. You're talking like that's nothing. If it was 70,000, it's nothing.
It's very.
He only had like 1.2 million total. You're asking for like 70% more. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. You're asking for like 70% more votes than he got already. It's not done by just, it's not a local voting system, Chris. As big, the New York market that you're talking about is the biggest in the world, has been in the gutter. No national TV games. We can't get free agents. We can't get stars. Knicks ain't all that. Come on. It's not on Knicks fans. It's not on Knicks fans.
It's all on Knicks fans.
That's crazy.
You're
better than that, man. Come on.
Please, Jerry.
All on Knicks fans?
Jerry, your fans don't vote. Like when
your buddy doesn't vote. You're basing this on your one friend who didn't vote.
No. Listen to me. Here's an example. When your pal Alan Hahn, my good friend Alan Hahn, subtweeted my video the other day. We were both texting back and forth, scrolling through the replies. And the replies were exactly what you would think they were. Where Knicks fans are like, no big deal. Many of them were like, wait, how do you vote? We don't care about All-Star. We care about winning a championship.
How many of those did you see? 3? Did you see 3 of those replies? 4? I did too. I don't think Alan fully understood what we were debating about.
The apathy of Knicks fans when it comes to All-Star voting is shocking. And if you think players don't care about this, Jerry, you're dead wrong. I do think
they care.
Jalen Brunson, I'm sure, is bitterly disappointed that he is not going to be the All-Star starter. No, that he's not going to be the All-Star starter. And the reason he's not the starter is because he didn't get enough votes from his fan base. His fan base did not vote enough.
That argument does not hold up. If it was a local vote, like if you were only allowed to vote, like, hey, if you want to vote for Dame, you have to be registered in Milwaukee. And if you want to vote for Giannis, you have to be. If it was a local vote where you could only vote in your state, it is a global, universal. Do you think people globally know fully about Jalen Brunson? There's people in the national media who don't watch the Knicks games and have no clue what's going on with them. They don't watch Knicks Hornets on a Sunday afternoon. They just say, oh yeah, Brunson had 28 and 5. That was awesome. Great game. Knicks beat the Hornets. Oh wow, big deal. So you're blaming strictly that you think just the Knicks fans couldn't get in there. I'm trying to say and now look, every year it's getting better. Last year he should have been an all-star. He wasn't. This year he got snubbed last year. This year he will be an all-star. Not a starter, snubbed again. Hopefully he makes All-NBA. Next year, Jalen Brunson will be starting in the All-Star game because people. Yes, he will.
Yes, you won't vote.
You want to make a bet on that? Want to make a bet?
No.
Want to make a bet?
Well, I have to see. Well. Yes, if he has yes, I don't believe there's going to be.
If the numbers are there, if he repeats this kind of year, he will be starting next year because people know now. They're learning now.
Jerry, I can't with you with this one because just put it. Give me a number. How many Knicks fans watch a game every single night?
Millions.
And those people could have easily made up the difference. It was 700,000 votes. They could have made the difference. One thing for you. Let me ask you this.
It's so parody what you're saying.
One of the leading vote getters, Jerry, was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Does Shai have some worldwide national fan base that I don't know about? He has spent the last 6 years, playing in Oklahoma City.
He's the most talked about darling of the media for a year and a half, dude.
I'm talking about the fan vote. I'm talking about the fan vote.
Who do you think fans listen to?
Does he? Well, then maybe the Knicks do a better job with outreach in trying to get their guys some more attention. Does he? But he does not have this brand that would engender himself to fans nationally. You know what? And I wish that the NBA did this. I wish the NBA did this, but I would bet every nickel in my pocket that the overwhelming number of votes that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got came from Oklahoma City. I believe the people in Oklahoma City
would you make that same bet for him. Okay. Off that point, would you make the same bet that Damian Lillard's votes came from Milwaukee?
No, because he's new to Milwaukee. They could have come from Portland. They could have come
from Donovan Mitchell's from Cleveland?
No, but again, he's got a couple of cities he's been popular in. They're probably
Jalen Brunson was popular in Dallas-ish.
Not that popular. I mean, come on. Let's not compare Jalen Brunson to that. I'm just saying, Jerry, Knicks fans, there's so many of you.
Way bigger.
There's so many of you. Jerry, why won't you fans that will storm into the Barclays Center to watch the Knicks play against the Nets, who will travel all over the country to watch your team, why is it so hard for every one of you every day to go online and vote for Jalen Brunson? Why is that so difficult? I can't wrap my head around that.
You're trying to solve an NBA voting problem, not a Knicks get Brunson to the All-Star problem. Yes, it is.
It's not a voting problem.
Look at the number of votes. There's X amount of votes every year, Chris. There's people in every fan base that are never going to vote, whether it's because of their age or they don't give a shit or they're too young. Every fan base, there's people who will not vote. They just don't participate in voting for the All-Star game. They don't care enough. That's every fan base, not Knicks. That's even your Boston Celtics, who had a remarkable vote for their players. They almost had 5 starters, for crying out loud. There's a percentage
I can't believe you
of
think
Celtics
Jalen Brown
fans
has
that
like this national fan base.
If we're talking about who's more likely to get votes based on name, brand value, which is what the voting system is for this particular All-Star game, yeah, I think Jalen Brown, a lot more people internationally and domestically know who he is, being that we watched him in finals and Eastern Conference finals. And like I said, we talked about the highest paid contract of all time because a lot of media talk about the Celtics. They're one of, you mentioned the Knicks might be the second after. I think it's the Lakers and Celtics in terms of who gets talked about the most, because we haven't had a lot of Knicks conversations until the last 2 or 3 years. Let's be honest. We haven't.
Jerry, but this is our disconnect, that you think that Jalen Brunson needs a bigger profile to get more of the outside New York vote.
Yes,
My
I
argument,
do.
Which I can actually agree with that.
Yeah, I think
my
your
argument
is some crazy
my argument is it doesn't matter. The amount of, do you think that what did he wind up with? 1.2 million total votes, something like that?
Roughly.
Do you think do you think given the Knicks fan base, Jalen Brunson getting 1.2 million votes over like 6 weeks is a good number?
You have X amount of people who are going to vote. Maybe you can cross over into like, maybe you can cross over into like, hey, there's, you know what? We added 50,000 new voters this year, not for Knicks fans, just in general for NBA All-Star voting, period, of people who will vote versus people who will not. That's an NBA outreach voting issue that they need to deal with. Some people just don't care or don't even know how to do it and don't want to learn.
Outreach voting issue. That's a Knicks. There are cities and markets, Jerry, I have numbers backing me up, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, huge numbers. Tyrese Halliburton.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong about that conversation.
Indiana.
Wait, time out. You think that Shai's votes primarily came from the OKC fan base and those millions of people?
Chunk of them came from them, yes. And same thing with Tyrese Halliburton.
Then we need to release the data. We need to release the data.
I've already asked. I've tried.
I know, because I think you would. I think you would literally say, let's not talk about this voting stuff anymore, because you'd realize
the voting isn't like
it's
the
not
voting
a local
was a problem.
vote.
The voting was a problem back in the day when like Zaza Pachulia was getting all these votes from like Georgia.
It still is a problem. It still is a problem.
It's not a problem. Your problem, which you just won't accept, you can't wrap your head around.
I can.
Hold on. You can't wrap your head around this fact that Knicks fans gave Jalen Brunson an embarrassingly low vote total. It was an embarrassingly low vote total that cost him a spot on the All-Star game. These are facts. If he got more votes, he would be an All-Star. If Knicks fans galvanized in the same way they galvanized to do everything else involved with the New York Knicks, including going to games and attacking Candace Parker, this guy would be the All-Star starter. Fact.
A couple of things there. Number one, you haven't even factored in social media to this conversation, which is interesting, which is one of the issues I had with our last argument, which was about the NBA 2K League, where you just shun that off as something stupid. And why are they doing it when you press the B button quick? Yeah, and it's in year 7, and it's changed like hundreds of kids' lives who
don't do that. I love the kids for it. I just don't.
I know. I'm just saying it worked, but you haven't even put social media into play as a little graphic of maybe we could track how people's followings are. You know, Damian Lillard has over 10 million followers on Instagram, so maybe that gives you a little taste of who's a little more popular. And secondly,
how many does
2015? Why was Carmelo Anthony voted on so widely by, I guess, only Knicks fans, because only local people vote for their people?
Jerry,
why was Carmelo Anthony, when he was already starting to slip production-wise and the Knicks were losing, getting hammered, draft lottery team, why was Carmelo Anthony always like number 1, 2, or 3 in voting?
Carmelo is in the same boat as Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, as James Harden, is that they are national brands. They are bigger than that. Again, we're not disagreeing on this.
And you're not putting Damian Lillard in that conversation, though. You don't put Damian Lillard in that conversation.
He is in that conversation.
And who's starting?
Damian Lillard. He is a national brand. We're not disagreeing with that. We're disagreeing on the fact that you think the Knicks fans that they couldn't have done better. Like you think?
No. I led off with, and I've said this to you on text multiple times, and I led off this conversation with, we did owe a better turnout for Brunson. I don't think it would have been the turnout like you're saying. I don't think he would have finished with 3 million votes if we did a rock the vote campaign.
Why not?
Listen, man,
you're shaking your head.
Not?
You're like,
why not?
Like,
Who's
gonna?
Like,
why not, Jerry? It's not. This is
by
not
the way, for an
a
NBA
complicated thing to do.
NBA All-Star star. I'm not trying to poo-poo that. this is for an NBA. We're not talking about like all NBA where guys actually get paid off of that stuff with incentives and all that.
Whoa.
We're talking
I don't
about.
know that. Hold on. First of all, I don't know that to be true. I don't know the details of Jalen Brunson's contract, but very often all-star
some guy,
guys,
not Brunson particularly. In general,
I'm just saying. But
players' numbers,
you know what else is
contracts are
true?
dictated by all NBA.
You want to talk about, but you want to talk about money. Like, look, whenever it comes to stuff like sneaker deals, endorsements, everything outside of basketball, a guy's popularity factors into that. You know, how much a guy might make in a sneaker deal, how much a guy might make in an endorsement deal. So if Jalen Brunson got the full-throated support of Knicks fans and did get those 3 million votes that are so hard to come up with, according to you.
Yeah, if there's the number one vote getter in the Eastern Conference, okay, that's all you're asking for. The number one vote getter in the Eastern Conference.
You just said millions of Knicks fans watch games every single night. Why can't millions of Knicks fans vote? I don't understand this. That vote
That's
total
an NBA outreach problem. Again, that's an NBA outreach problem. There's people who have never voted and will never vote.
Why
There's
is
people
it
who
an
never
NBA,
vote
Jerry,
for the presidency. There's just people
Jerry,
who don't vote.
Why is it an NBA thing? Why on I don't watch every MSG broadcast. I kind of toggle back and forth between road and away.
So what do you expect the Knicks to do? What do you expect the Knicks to do
vote
like
Jalen
they did
Brunson
their social media What's that?
4 times a game. Say vote Jalen Brunson 4 times a game.
You don't think they do? You don't think they do?
I don't think they do it 4 times a game. I would be pushing it hard.
I think they do it a lot, and on social, I think they've done it. They've done it quite often on social. I've posted on social about it. I posted quite often about it. I think they did their outreach as they were willing to do, while also running an organization trying to win games. And
those things are mutually exclusive. Like, come on, you can't do us. You think that Leon Rose is handling the social department? Come on, let's be real.
I just would love to hear your genius plan of how to get 3 million votes for Jalen Brunson. Let's hear it. Let's hear the golden plan of how to do that, because it's so easy to get New Yorkers to vote 3 million times for Brunson. How do you do it?
That's my problem. I don't understand why Knicks fans are so apathetic about this. I don't understand.
It's not just Knicks fans, buddy. It's not just Knicks fans.
But Knicks fans...
There's apathy in all markets.
Hold on. Knicks local fan base. How many local fan bases outnumber the Knicks? Maybe the Lakers, maybe, but they're actually more of a national brand than the Knicks. I think local-centric, the Knicks have the strongest fan base of them all. So it is a Knicks problem because the apathy there is worse, because this was a humiliatingly low vote total. Humiliatingly low for Jalen Brunson.
That is so dramatic, dude. That is dramatic, and I think you're guilty of Knicks for clicks in the first degree. Humiliatingly low. Wait. Humiliatingly low.
By the way,
you said at the end of your video, I look at you, Knicks fans, I'm going to clobber you. That humiliating. Was it humiliating? Is Brunson humiliated right now after destroying the Nuggets last night, and every Knicks fan
not humiliated,
cheering his praise? Who's humiliated then? I'm not. I don't feel humiliated.
The vote total is humiliatingly. The vote total was humiliating.
I don't think anyone in New York with the Knicks, and I think I don't think there's any fans or Knicks players who are humiliated.
But they're not humiliated. The vote totals are low.
It was a little soft. It could have been better. You could have left it at that. Could have been better.
The whole Knicks for clicks thing is kind of a red herring sometimes.
No, it's not.
As someone that writes digitally, the Knicks are not. They don't click as well as you might think. Just
really, who plays? It's still just LeBron.
It's really the Lakers, frankly. Anything about the Lakers tends to click more than
the Knicks. So who's your number? Well, but I don't understand. But Chris, we're in the second biggest market. You would think that the Knicks would get a lot of traction if you put out a story.
Oh, they're still interesting, but you seem to have the people that say Knicks for clicks frame the conversation like if I write one story about the struggles of RJ.
No, you're coming after Knicks fans, dude. Come on, you came specifically. You kamikaze me with the first video, and then we started chatting, which was great. I thought it was funny, and then you kamikaze me with the second video, and then you got a little like not personal, but you're like, I'm gonna crush you, Knicks fan. Like, you're not crushing us, dude. You're not.
I don't have to. The numbers.
And I don't think after last night too, there's no Knicks fans that are walking around like, man, we let our boy down. I don't think that's happening.
They did let their boy down.
Okay.
They did. They let Jalen Brunson down. If they had voted, he'd be an all-star. It's an all-star starter. It's as simple as that.
We could agree to disagree.
That's not in dispute. That's not in dispute.
This is not
if they had voted more, he would be an all-star starter.
This is not a local vote. And it never has been. And that's why you can't explain away Dame Lillard winning the vote, and Donovan Mitchell higher, and Trae Young even, who's had not a great season, and the Hawks are not good, and I'm glad you didn't vote for him as a starter, thankfully. But he's still up there in votes. Why? That people in Atlanta just like spamming that vote button. We got to get our boy in. We got to get our boy in, or has he been in TV commercials for the last 5 years?
Trae Young's a great example, right? Trae Young absolutely has the broad fan base. Kids grow up wanting to play like Trae Young because he was kind of a micro version of Steph, kind of that same style of play. So he has a broad national fan base.
For sure.
The Atlanta fan base is virtually non-existent. Like it is one of the, I'm trying to struggle to find the word for it because I don't want to like embarrass the fans that vote down there, but they are not anywhere near as strong as the Knicks fan base. So my belief on Trae Young versus Brunson is that the local fan vote from New York should have at least matched the broader vote for Trae Young.
Okay. Again, I think you're playing the local national game in a weird way. I think it was Atlanta and, China and lots of other votes for Trae Young in China. But whatever international place you want to pick. You want Europe,
they've done a
wherever
course
you want
correction
to pick.
on that.
Australia, wherever you want to pick. I think the reason why Trae Young finished ahead of Jalen Brunson in the vote has nothing to do with New York versus Atlanta and who showed up more. Because if you're right, in that case, it would have been easy for. I think the numbers right now would have been easy for Brunson to be ahead of Trae Young, but he got votes from a lot of other places. So look, we can agree to disagree.
Trae didn't get the nod, right? Lillard got the nod, and he got the
because
nod
he got no media and player votes.
Well, no,
That's
Lillard
why.
got no. Why?
No,
Lillard
Trae Young.
Okay.
Trae Young.
But Lillard got the nod. This again, we got to go back to the facts here. Lillard got the nod because he got 700,000-ish more votes than Jalen Brunson. And my contention, which you will not shake me off of, and I clearly won't shake you off of yours, is that Knicks fans who are millions strong could have easily made up that gap. They chose not to. Jerry. And that's why Jalen Brunson is going to have to wait till next week to see if the coaches add him as a reserve.
No, I know I'm never going to change your mind on it, so it's fine. I'm trying to see, I made sure I'm following Jalen Brunson on Instagram, which I have been. And look, he's got 365,000 followers. That's an amazing start. Dame's got 10 million. So, we'll see where they end up in the local New York voting scene. New York, I'm going to encourage Knicks fans to follow Jalen Brunson on Instagram a little more, and I'll make that my life's work. But I could agree with you on one thing. Knicks fans could have showed up a bit more for Brunson. I don't believe in my heart of hearts it was ever going to be 800,000 more votes. And by the way, Dame deserves to be where he's at. He's had a great season. Their numbers are identical. The Bucks are still 30-13, even though the coaching issue. So it's not to me, I don't look at it like a total humiliating snubbing. I think the Knicks fans could have showed up a little more. I am not blaming the whole fan vote on the Knicks. No fan base has a huge urgency to get their guy in. It's bigger than that, and we'll never agree, and it's all good. We will not agree. All good.
But again,
he will be a starter next year, and I would bet harder and cash on that.
It's that Lillard is a starter is not humiliating. The vote totals that Jalen Brunson got is humiliating, especially when you stack it up against the global brand. Against the global brand that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that got millions of votes. He got a whole bunch of
the guy who's going to win MVP maybe this year.
But that doesn't matter. Like Jalen Brunson. Is not going to win MVP, but he's in all NBA conversation.
You don't think that you and other people with huge platforms, even though New York has a huge platform and millions of people watch Knicks games, you total up you and Bill Simmons and all the millions of people who listen to those podcasts who now are talking about Brunson a lot and maybe have lightly in the past, but it's a big Tyrese Halliburton love fest. It's a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander love fest. You don't think that matters in voting at all? None.
I think it matters,
Zero.
but I think, again, let me proctor you here. You're assuming facts, not an evidence here, Jerry. This is
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
No,
that's
but you're assuming facts, not evidence.
Fact.
You're saying we're sitting there talking every week about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Tyrese Halliburton.
I consume a lot of that stuff.
No, Shai, Tyrese, when he was taken off during the in-season tournament, absolutely. He became the topic du jour. And Shai has been someone people have believed in for multiple years. I did a profile on him for the magazine right about a year ago now. But he is not someone that leads every sports show or leads every podcast every single week. He's just not. but yet he still got more than 2 million more votes.
I'm gonna clap it up for OKC fans. You guys, I love. You know what?
Go. Me too.
I was always, I still want a franchise in Seattle, but you moved to a huge market in OKC, and you guys showed up for your boy. And you guys, OKC fans, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander starting in the All-Star game. Big ups, OKC. We can agree on that. That's a wild point. But anyway, buddy. I love this. Let's find something else to do and go at. We gotta have a boxing conversation at some point because you're the man with that. And but yeah, we could just agree to disagree and we'll move on from there. But we'll see. I'll take a bet with anyone. Jalen Brunson will be starting in the All-Star game. And you know what? Maybe it's this conversation and your excellent work calling out Knicks fans that will lead to a better turnout next year. You might be the reason. You might be revisiting this 1 year from today at this conversation saying, you know who really was the one who threw the first blow? Chris Mannix got Jalen Brunson over the hump.
I love you, Jerry. And I want to remind your audience listening that like every tweet you put out at me about this voting thing, you followed up with a text message. So I have like a stream of tweets from you saying one thing and then very similar text messages like 5 seconds later. So you are firing off on all platforms. You are someone that Knicks fans should model after because I
waited a long time for this, Chris. I waited a long time. I was going to Knicks games, watching Chris Duhon do his thing, and I waited a long time for this, and I'm going to enjoy myself, buddy. Thank you. And we'll talk off the air too, so we could do some stuff with this, but you got to come back and talk like when we get maybe trade deadline, we could just have a straight basketball convo.
100%, brother. See ya.
All right, Chris. Take care, brother. Tibbs.
Yeah, buddy. I think we're back. That was a conversation. That was a conversation.
That was a good convo. That was a good convo.
And actually, I want to shout out the chat because we had 108 people that voted on the poll. All right. You ready, Jerry? The question was, did Knicks fans let Brunson down? Right. That's the debate. 53% of those in the chat said yes.
Oh, God.
39% said no. And then 8% followed me and said, I'm taking the other 8% were with me and said, I'm taking my ball and going home. But no, it was a great combo. And heck, I saw that we had so many people in the chat. And we saved a lot of those conversations. We don't want you guys to feel like we weren't paying attention, but we were. Yeah. But let's go through it a little bit, guys. JJ in the Billy says he's right. We failed Brunson big time. Damn, JJ, wrong side. Savage said it's international voting. We didn't get it from our Knicks. Feel ya. Nick, BS. Our guys don't get the credit is because people like Stephen A., Kenny Smith, Gilbert Arenas, et cetera, constantly thrashing us is the reason why. Guys, we can go through this chat for hours. E in the Billy said it is also because he doesn't get the national attention and some members of the media hate on him. Jerry, some of the points you made, I had to agree with, like even when you brought up the numbers of their followers and things like that, can you really just put it all on Knicks fans that he didn't get in there? Doesn't make sense.
And that's why I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Like I conceded that the numbers were soft. I think there could have been another 100, 200,000, maybe high level, 300,000 more for sure. But to get to another 800,000 to surpass Dame, who's a brand. And by the way, I think Dame deserves it. Dame's had an awesome season too. It's just been a little weird. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I just it's bonkers to me that he won't say how being a big brand household name factors into NBA All-Star voting. I think this is weird that he won't. I conceded the vote could have been better. He won't concede that truly is one of the reasons.
Yeah. I just want to give a shout out real quick before I give my take and I'll throw it over to Phil. But shout out to the chat. My guy Savage NYC was killing it in the chat. Shout out to G Money. Shout out Knicks or Fact. We're gonna get to a lot of what you guys said. I want to bring them up. But Jerry, I want to
before you give your take, I think we also got our content highlighted guest today too. Yes. So I think we should bring Billy up with us for this conversation because I'd love to hear what Billy's thoughts are on as well. Billy, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you ready, my guy. Hey, Billy is in the building.
Billy, what it do, my guy? Salute.
What's up, fellas? What's up, Jerry, man? Big fan, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Man. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Good day, bro. We got this combo coming off the ass dog walking spanking that we put on the Nuggets.
We're going to get to it, folks. We're going to get Hector, to that conversation.
Let's start with you. Let's go to Phil and then throw it over to Billy. But give your take on how that debate went, man.
Yeah. It was pretty good, but then obviously Chris is a Boston fan, like you said, Jerry, and it was showing.
Tomatoes.
And I wish, because I brought up the date, I forgot to send it to you, Jerry. If you look at the all-star voting and the starters, I'm gonna make this real quick. If you look at the top players that are used in NBA 2K, a lot of kids were voting. A lot of kids that play NBA 2K. The gaming market is $1 billion industry. If you look at the top players that players use online, Joel Embiid, Joker, Giannis, Luka, LeBron, KD, Steph, Shea, Jason Tatum, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker,
That's
John
the All-Star
Morant,
game.
Tyrese Halliburton, exactly. Dame Lillard, and then Jalen Brunson. Dame Lillard is the 17th most used player online. Jalen Brunson is 19. And like I said, a lot of kids vote in the All-Star game. You could vote multiple times over and over and over again. And it's a popularity contest when it comes down to it. Dame Lillard, he just has the legacy. He is known more by people, NBA fans, or just the normie fans. If you used to go to New Zealand and just stop a random person in the street and just show them 2 pictures, I think they'll be able to point out Dame Lillard before pointing out Jalen Brunson. That's just my opinion on it.
Billy?
Yeah.
You said Billy? My bad. Yeah, facts, man. Look, first off, the convo was great, man. I watched damn near all of it, man. Chris, yeah, he sounded like a Boston fan for some reason. He did like Knicks fans as well. It was exhausting hearing him saying Knicks fans could have did better, bro. If you on Knicks Twitter, do you realize how many Knicks fans actually don't like Jalen Brunson? Like, there's a lot of Knicks fans on Twitter who do not like Jalen Brunson, like at all.
Yeah, there's a big part that still hasn't gotten over the trade.
And it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's one aspect of it. 2, he named SGA. When I was in the military, I was stationed in Oklahoma. All right. That Oklahoma fan base loves their stars, period. Which goes to Trae Young. Okay, yeah, Atlanta has a crappy fan base, but where's Trae Young from? He's from Oklahoma. So that's probably why he got a lot of those numbers as well. And it's SGA. He got the back of Oklahoma and Canada. Like, he's like the biggest basketball star. And
I should have mentioned the Canada. I can't believe I forgot the Canada connection. So, thank you, Billy.
Chris was like, no, I mean, I couldn't wait. I was like knocking on the door trying to chime in. Say Canada. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy, man. But could Knicks fans have done better for that vote? Absolutely, we could have done better. But again, it's Dame Lillard is a household name. In my personal opinion, trying to be as much unbiased as I can, I think Jalen Brunson's had a better season than Dame Lillard. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that, team aspect wise, yeah, they were 31-13, but they were an ugly 31-13. You know what I'm saying? They lost to Indiana 4 out of 5 times, got embarrassed on the national stage at the in-season tournament. These guys actually humiliate Adrian Griffin. I would love to get into that combo if we could, but I know we don't have time for that. Then they started dancing on the floor.
That was crazy.
I thought that was crazy, man. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is, man. Jalen Brunson would definitely be reserved. If he doesn't be in reserve, then we have an argument. I think we should storm NBA headquarters like the Capitol or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy, man. But it is what it is. Whatever.
Chris, so where you at with it, Philly?
So I'm gonna go on a little rant real quick because, like I said, I'm in my car right now, and so if my internet goes out, I want to at least speak my piece before I leave. So my problem with that whole Chris perspective is that he's missing so many of the most valid points. And so the first thing is, yes, can we say that there's Knicks fans that probably could have done better? Yeah, we'd be foolish to not say that we could have done a little bit better. But you're comparing Dame Lillard, who has been an 8-time All-Star already, and you're putting him against Jalen Brunson, who until last year, unless you were a Dallas fan or following, Dallas Mavericks because of Luka, you didn't really pay attention to Jalen Brunson. And even last year, like Jerry said, we weren't getting that media attention. So it's to the point that even people like Candace Parker, who are paid to know this stuff, didn't know what Jalen Brunson was capable of and what he did in the playoffs last season. So if someone who works in the industry that's paid to know this information doesn't know how good Jalen Brunson was last year and is only paying attention to this season, how do we expect anybody else to have seen what Jalen Brunson did before there was national media coverage of him. So this is actually like his first actual push out there. And to Billy's point, if you look at the two stat-wise, he is only behind Damian Lillard in rebounds. That's the only thing he's behind Damian Lillard in. And you look at who they're playing with. Damian Lillard is playing with the MVP, previous MVP, championship winning Giannis Antetokounmpo. So he is number 2 on that team, which means there's a lot more flexibility for him to do what he does, as opposed to Jalen Brunson, who's playing with Julius Randle, which no shade to Randle, but he's on no comparison to Giannis. You know, so the two of them are playing completely different roles. One of them is a 2 with an MVP, and one of them is the number 1 on a team that's now trying to make a name for themselves. So when it comes to who is actually better on their team, it's Jalen Brunson. They have the same numbers, yet Dame can be a 2, and Giannis has and Jalen Brunson has to be the 1. So when you look at it, if you do not acknowledge the fact that it is a popularity contest and it should be switched, the ones that come off the bench should be the ones that appease the fans. The ones that actually start should be the ones who actually deserve it, and the media can look at and see. The media was able to see that Jalen Brunson deserved it just as much. But when he talks about like SGA and stuff like that, SGA has 2.8 million Instagram followers. So you can't tell me that it's OKC that's voting for him, because they only have 1 million people in OKC. So he's getting a ton of votes and a ton of follows from everywhere. Like I travel a lot, and you see a lot of these players' jerseys in different cities, because it's no longer a league for youngsters that follow a team. They follow players. That's why you have the kids that have a LeBron James jersey from when he was with the Cavs. Then they have one when he was with the Heat. Then they have one when he's with the Lakers, because they follow a player. They do not solely devote to a team. So these guys are like celebrities. So the last thing I'll compare it to is anyone who's an actual like hip hop head or listens to hip hop like pure like through and through. J. Cole has been, by those who actually know hip hop, has been considered the best mainstream rapper over the last few years. Okay, salute to him. However, when you look at the popularity contest of things like Rolling Stone that are just trying to appease everybody and everybody, not real hip hop heads, number 1 for best song of 2023, Sexy Red. Are you kidding me? Like, are you for real?
This is why I didn't want Phil in the debate, because I didn't want to do that to Mannix, man.
That's
like
popularity vote. Number 3,
you know?
Ice Spice. Ice Spice is Dr. Seuss on a beat, and Sky Red wouldn't know how to ride a beat if it punched her in the mouth. She doesn't know what a beat is.
First of all, both those songs are fire.
Obviously, like Dame and Jalen aren't like the J. Cole, Ice Spice like levels of difference, but it shows that it is a popularity contest, which to me, the starters should be the ones who actually earn it, and then appease the fans by letting their favorites come off the bench and still compete. Bottom line is, whether he made it or not, we cannot act like it's not a popularity contest, because it is. And that's why Jalen Brunson is not that guy, because he does not try to be that fashionista, that hip hop artist, that everybody out there. He is trying to just be a baller who plays ball, plays hard, and works with his friends and his family. That doesn't
Phil said, I'm getting it all out before this internet goes bad. But you know what? Exactly. I'll just give one more take on this, and then we're gonna move on, because guys, we gotta
get to this talk about last night.
We gotta get this open panel. But I will say, I saw in the chat where did he write it? Coach in there said, I'm pretty sure my son voted for Dame. And I brought this up because look, I've got kids. They're not into basketball. My kids know Brunson. They know the Knicks because I watch it. They hear dad. They hear me screaming. They hear me yelling. But you know what? My kids know who Dame Lillard is. They know guys that are on Instagram. They know guys that put out some hip-hop tracks. They know those guys. And if my kids are hanging out with friends and like, oh, we're voting, they probably would sit there like,
He'll be starting next year. Brunson, I'll put money on it right now, and anybody wants to bet. And Billy, we can move on. Brunson will be starting. He's elevated every year. Snubbed last year for the All-Star and All-NBA. This year he's going to make it.
Your best thing you said last night, Jerry, was this snub hopefully turns into an
A
amazing
dub.
showing
Snub
on the
for a
court
dub,
last
and it
night.
was.
All right,
Snub for
let's
a dub.
start with the combo, guys, from last night, because let's be real. A lot of fans went into that last game last night like, oh, iHeart's out. We had the concerns. We were worried. If anybody can literally sit here and tell me they had on their bingo card us having a 30-plus point win against the Nuggets last night, I'm going to say, you lying. You're a liar. You're a liar. Billy, how'd you feel about that game last night, bro?
Man, first off, I had to spin the block on myself because I tweeted a couple of hours before the game. I'm like, yo, not having iHeart is going to be pivotal to our success against Denver. Because I would have liked to see how, I ain't going to lie, I gave Sims no shot last night. I gave Jericho Sims 0. I think I was in the negative. I gave him 0 shot.
All grown up.
Oh, my God. Hey, last night, I know it. And look, I'm real frequent on Knicks Twitter. And the biggest narrative right now is regular season don't matter. If that win right there did not matter to you, then you're just doing it for clicks. I'm telling you right now, you're doing it for clicks.
Win of the
It's
season.
January 26th, and the New York Knicks are 11 games above 500. This ain't no play. Do I want another guy in here? Maybe one more. But right now, look, let me rewind. Let me get off that. I don't even want to talk about that. The last 2 games, OG and Precious Achua.
OG killed him.
Come on. OG look like he's so calm. I live in Indianapolis. You know, he went to Indiana University, right? He's been the same. I love guys who are the same person throughout their career, as far as like, you know, demeanor and your human, all that stuff. OG is cool. Post game, you don't see him get too high. You don't get too low. It's like when Melo called RJ Bland a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? You won't know if he scored 4 or you won't know if he scored 28. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to show his emotion like that. But last night, that game, to do that to Denver, and you know, people were, when Joker got poked in the eye, they were like, "Man, we need Joker to come back." They're going to be making excuses. Damn,
they're down 20. They were down 20.
And we don't have none of our bigs. I don't want to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every time they talk about JB in a negative light on the national media, and they didn't talk bad about him last night for much. Charles Barkley actually has his back to the fullest.
Yep.
But every time somebody gives JB a little bit of fuel, guess what? He goes out there that same game or the next game, whenever it is, and he just goes to work. He goes to work, man. I said this the other day, man. I tweeted this. In my lifetime, I think Jalen Brunson is the best player to wear a Knicks uniform in that position I've seen in my lifetime. And I'm dead serious about that. I know people are going to be like, what about Clyde? And what about I don't judge players I've never seen.
I'm with you, Billy.
Yeah, I don't judge players I've never seen. So for my money and for the youth and what he is, he's 26, right? I think he is right now the best player in that position I've seen in a Knicks uniform. And like Barkley said last night, and I agree, I know I'm about to stir some shit. He's probably the most relevant person we've had since Patrick Ewing. I know Melo was here, but we wasn't really that relevant. We are relevant more right now with Jalen Brunson. The best team I've seen in over 20 years.
Well, the things I'm loving too, and Billy, everything you said was perfect. It's the elevated play from everyone else, which I think starts at the top, right? And I do think you got to credit Randle to this too. I know we've talked about in the past, just, you know, is he a leader, all this stuff. And then you get that guy like OG. Like OG had what, 26, 20? He was the team high in points. I don't even remember the points. I remember him covering the court like Ed Reed used to cover the you know, the secondary for Baltimore, just patrolling. I mean, I think Murray's gonna have nightmares about him after that game, just in the passing lane. So I just think everyone now, it is a team. And Melo, who was incredible, I don't know if the team, other than maybe 2013, 14 season, like if the whole team was getting brought up.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because Brunson does have another all-star with him, and Melo never really had that. It was supposed to be Stat, and Stoudemire was hurt. So I just feel like the whole team now is riding that wave. And, you know, it's just the right mix-up of personalities. I thought Sims was fantastic last night. What more do you want to see? He's learning. It's a work in progress, but he's not leaving his feet as quickly as he used to. He's staying on the ground. He's boxing out better. Couple of block shots before the eye poke, and then DiVincenzo was out there just thumbing everybody, and he went WWE.
Who was that?
OG, right? He had OG. So heck, I kick it to you. It's like that was a perfect game. That's a basketball version of a perfect game.
It was a phenomenal game last night. Before I give my take, folks, we got over 230 people watching us right now. If you're watching us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, click the link in the bio. Come on over to YouTube to join the conversation. We are sitting at 3,091 subscribers, folks.
Let's
we
get
are on
3,100
our
on
way
this one. Let's
to
go.
4K. We could get 9 more subscribers to get to 3,100, but we are on our way to 4K. If you're watching us, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button.
Oh, you know what else we got to tell them, Heck?
What's up?
And I don't mean to cut you off. We are doing open panel today. Jerry's going to hang out for a little bit. We are going to do open panel. So people in the chat, if you're ready and you want to come up and give your takes, we'll be dropping the link here in a second. Come up, be respectful, have a good time, give us your takes. Go ahead.
Facts. You know, and Phil said some blasphemous words a little while ago, right? You know, first of all, one of the best bars that we've gotten over the past few years has been, you know, you think you the shit, bitch, you're not even a fart, all right? So put some respect on Isis Gaston, aka Ice Spice, all right? Put some respect on Ice Spice names. That's first and foremost, right? But no, getting back to the conversation. When it comes to Jalen Brunson, and there was a guy in the chat that said Derek White, he's a bigger snub, right? And you know, I saw some Boston fans last night, and I sent you guys the clip. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. That said, if the Knicks had Derek White, the Knicks would be in the same place, if not better, right? And I think that's blasphemous. Jalen Brunson, over Jalen Brunson. If you swap Jalen Brunson and Derek White, the Knicks would be in a better position, right? So yeah, that video was horrible. No, CP, she's Dominican. Exactly, Billy. But no, going back to last night's game, you saw how important Jalen Brunson is. And Jerry, we was talking about it in the pregame show. The Jalen Brunson not getting that vote to the starters in the All-Star game, getting snubbed, gave him that extra fuel and fire to go out there and put it on the Denver Nuggets. And you just saw his footwork is top class. But I think one of the other big takeaways from last night's games was the number one villain for the past couple of weeks, and that's been Quentin Grimes. Our boy Quentin Grimes showed up and he was balling out there, and you know he's trying to fight for his minutes in Tibbs' lineup and Tibbs' rosters, but at the same time, build your trade value up if we're going to trade you rather at the trade deadline or the off season.
Yeah, you know, so to what Billy was saying, you know, I'm the Knicks Twitter like representative of Knicks Morning Brew for the most part. Like I'm the one that hangs out in those chats and pops up into Deej and Eddie Spaces or Billy's space. And so I hear that narrative all the time. You know, when it's convenient, regular season games don't matter. But when we lose to a team that we shouldn't, all of a sudden those games matter and we're trash, we're this, we're that. Knicks fans are hilarious when it comes to Knicks Twitter sometimes. But I said it in the pregame yesterday. I said, if we win this game, whether you are on the side of regular season doesn't matter or not. If we win that game without our two big men and we're still able to beat the contending champs, there is no way you can say that we are not a contending team. Like, there is no way those words can come out of your mouth. And we didn't just beat them. We spanked them. The same thing we did with the Sixers, where we had them pull their main guys for a huge portion of the game. That's what we did last night without Mitch and without Ihart. So our team is starting to gel. And Billy said it great on his post. He said, very little do you see a instant trade just happen and everything fall together chemistry-wise. But we saw that with the Jalen Brunson thing. Then we saw that with Josh Hart. And now we're seeing that even more so with OG. So these trades are actually going so well in our favor. And I want to give a shout out to our guy, Vince. I pointed it out last night in our watch along in playback. Yeah. One of the best tweets that I've seen was from my guy, Vince, where he said, in 3 weeks, you see that Julius Randle trusts OG Anunoby more than he did RJ Barrett in 3 years. And it's so true. Like, it's just so fluid watching them together. And to me, a 17, 18 point, 10 rebound, 7, 8 assist Julius Randle is better than a 25 and 10 Julius Randle any day. Because he is such It's crazy. He's doing the things we wanted him to do, and his basketball IQ is starting to get so much better. He's making so much better calls. He's not playing selfishly. And OG is that guy. Like, after every game, you have somebody from the other team that has to give him praise. Like, it was the coach last night. It was Aaron Gordon last night. Everybody talking good about him. So if you're in the chat, all right, we watched a video last night where OG Anunoby apparently is a kind of celebrity star actor out in Canada. And he did some work for Staples. And so there was something called the OG Corp. And so we're thinking of creating these shirts right here. So if you would be interested in actually buying a shirt or a hat of these OG Corps, we need you to let us know. Because that's fire right there.
Well,
all right, so the OG Corp. Yeah, you got to watch the video. Jigga will post it in the comments. You guys have to watch it because you'll definitely want a shirt because he is
now
hilarious.
Billy. I saw you put your finger up. You were ready to you ready to go in on some stuff there, man. So go ahead.
No. Just had some breaking news saying Jamal Murray was just released from jail and he's now back in Denver. That was it. I thought you guys might have got the notification too, but no.
My phone was going off. I ignored it. Thank you, Billy.
No, man. Like, this is what the Knicks look like when we don't have to depend on Julius Randle every game. You know what I'm saying? This is what it looks like when, look, Phil, like said, he's on Twitter all the time and stuff. I see him in there lurking and stuff. But everybody's talking about we need bench scoring. We need bench scoring. We need bench scoring. No, you don't. Not to the point of what these guys are saying. Do we? Well, I take bench scoring. I'll take all the scoring we can get. I get it.
Thanks.
But the Knicks are like, what, 27th in pace on offense right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not in. I guess what I'm trying to say is, and I don't want, oh my gosh, I'm about to say it. Shout out to Tom Thibodeau. Shout out to Tom Thibodeau.
It's okay.
It's okay to say it. It's a
say it, Billy. It's good.
I'm not a Tibbs hater, but I don't love him, but I don't hate him either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I feel like Tibbs gets murdered way more than he really should. But at the same time, he's Tibbs. He's 66 years old. He's not going to change his ways. But I feel like we're building a team around him to compensate what he lacks in offensive mind thinking. You know what I'm saying? X's and O's and stuff like that. Like, these guys' defense turned into offense right now ever since we got OG. They 11 out of 13 since we gotten this dude. And I've been saying it forever, man. Take advantage of the soft schedule in January because we had 16 games in January. Only 5 of those games were against guys that were over 500. All right. You just beat Denver. You just beat the shit out of Denver. And now Saturday, you get to beat Miami for a second time this year. Finish this month off strong because right now we're separating. You look at 1 through 4, it's pretty tight. Those guys up under us, they're on losing streaks. Miami's on a 5-game losing streak. Indiana was on a nice little losing streak before last night's win. So we're starting to separate ourselves and stay in that top 4 and maybe top 3 hunt. I'm loving it.
It's funny. We got an interesting couple of showdowns coming, which I'm going to be at one of them in Cleveland. Like, I think it really does feel like I know it's so early, but the Cavs and Knicks very well might be back on another collision course. And that's how rivalries are truly built, right? Seeing a team year after year in the playoffs. We haven't had that in forever. We don't have a rival. I mean, we hate the Celtics. You know, we have teams that we definitely dislike, but I think it'll be really Miami for sure. You know, I think they play each other from back in the day. I'm saying, like, currently, you know, I think the Knicks because the Cavs had those injuries and they're playing better. It freed up Jared Allen, it's freed up Mitchell. So it might be a collision course. I got to shout out that one post. Knicks fans should be ashamed of himself. We didn't vote OG Anunoby as a starter. That's the kind of thing we're talking about here, right? This is what we're dealing with. I know he's making a joke. Like, this is what we're talking about here. So,
shout out to DSJ. Let me do a roll call real quick. I know we about to do the open panel. I know some people about to come up, right? Shout out to Knicks 100 in the building. My guy Keith Turner is in the building. DSJ, the only troll we acknowledge in the Knicks universe is our guy DSJ. E. Gibson
Gibson is in the building. Valentina is in the building. Melvin's in the building. Appreciate all of you guys. Tuna's in the building. JJ's in the building. Our guy Jacob Petruzzi's in the building. CP the artist, how are you doing, my guy? King Deej is in the building. Hopefully King Deej comes up to the open panel. Slime Live is in the building. Nick P is in the building. Appreciate all of you guys.
Wise, all you guys.
Boggle's in the building, my guy.
I just love saying Boggle every time he's in there, bro. I don't know what it is. I'm like, Boggle.
Savage NYC. And of course, our guy Double A is in the building as well. We got over 230 people watching us, 172 on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are sitting at 3,095. We are 5 away from 3,100. If you're watching us and not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I just want to talk about Cleveland real quick because Jerry brought them up. If you look at the standings, boys, we are in 4th place in the Eastern Conference on January 26th. We are a half a game up on Cleveland. We are 3 games up on Indiana, 4 games up on Miami, 5 games up on Orlando, and we are 7 games up on the Chicago Bulls. We are sitting nice right now in the Eastern Conference. We got some wiggle room, you know, if we got to make some adjustments, but I'm happy with where the team is at right now. I've said it several times. When it comes to the starting unit, I want to keep the starting unit as is. If we do add something, I think we have to add maybe a Malcolm Brogdon. I know that's not Phil's favorite person in the world right now, but besides that, I think we're good. You know, shout out to Jericho Sims and Precious Achua for showing up last night against the Joker. Going into that game, we were talking about it. I was concerned. I don't think there was a bunch of Knicks fans. I know I was one of them that was concerned last night going into that game without Hart and without Mitch, with just Precious and Jericho Sims. But shout out to the young boys for stepping up.
All right, so we're going to jump into the open panel. We dropped the link in the chat, guys. It's simple. Be respectful. Everybody's going to have their chance to talk, okay? It's not where your face isn't showing, so you're sitting there talking your shit with no respect. Come up, have a good time. In other words, don't be a douchebag. But listen, one thing I want to point out. You guys see that cool little barcode thing at the bottom there? Now you can support your boys just by buying us a coffee. Yes, I said that. A coffee. How on brand is that? Just try it, scan it. It'll follow your steps, all that good stuff. But guys, I want to try a new layout for our open panel today, since I knew we were going to have a couple different people with us. How's this look? Oh,
yeah, we got the stage. Yes, sir.
Go. I'm going to put my bald head peanut self down here at the bottom so I can hide. Now, look, the first guy I'm going to bring up is my boy Brandon. All right. Brandon is a weekly guest on my show, The Jets Evening Brew. He writes for the Jets X Factor. And I was like, yo, open panel, come up here, talk to us. He's done a lot of stuff with Let's Talk Knicks. Big Knicks fan. What up, Brandon? How you doing, bro?
Doing good. How's everybody doing today?
Good, bro.
Chilling,
How you
Brandon.
feeling after
Good.
last night? Talk to me.
You know, obviously, got to start with the obvious. Jalen Brunson should have been an all-star starter. But, you know, hey, if that's what it takes for the Knicks to blow out the defending champions, I'll take it.
That's fair. Now, Brandon, I'm gonna put you on the spot, bro. All right. So everybody knows I have a relationship with Brandon. We're really close friends. And Brandon, you have texted me over the years on how much of a Turtle fan you are. And if you thought I was gonna let you up here and not put you on the spot, Jerry, Brandon, Jerry. So one question. I hope you have one prepared. I'm gonna allow you to address Jerry. Jerry, Brandon has a question for you. He doesn't know he has a question for you. But go ahead, Brandon.
You know, nothing I love more than, you know, Porto just putting me on the spot. It has happened so many times over the Jet show. I mean, if you want to go back and watch that. But I guess my biggest thing is, like, you know, with all the Knicks stuff going on, right? Do you think, like, in terms like the Knicks for clicks and all that, you know, there is like this turning of the tide with Knicks, where I feel like for a while it's been, oh, the Knicks are like the laughing stock and like nobody can take them seriously. And now it feels like there's been this consistent building of consistency and, you know, sustained success to the point where I feel like they're finally getting back to that point. But I want to know where you fell on that.
Yeah, and I need, you know what? I needed two things to finish that conversation with Mannix. I needed Billy to come on and remind me that SGA had all of Canada voting for him. That was my bad. Billy could have used you up there. And then Mannix kind of, to your point though, Brandon, Mannix kind of devalued his own point when I was going with Knicks for clicks. He then got defensive and was like, well, oddly enough, the Knicks, when we write about him, you don't get as many clicks as you think, but yet we're the biggest market in the world and we're supposed to have 4 million votes for Jalen Brunson. You can't have it both ways, pal. It's one or the other. Are we the big market, which means Knicks for clicks is a thing, or are we not the big market? Knicks for clicks doesn't matter, but Brunson also doesn't get votes. So, look, to me, and Billy mentioned Tibbs earlier too, it's I know we talk all the time like here, heat culture. Not that I'm trying to say Knicks culture, but it did start with that. It started with just changing how things are done. And Leon gets a lot of that credit, Tibbs and the players, and RJ and Quickly get a lot of that credit. So yeah, I think now the coverage is there, and it's not so much Knicks for clicks. It's just we are a franchise that's run right now, and we're in the best position we've ever been. Doesn't mean we're contending for a title this year, although it's starting to seem like we could have that conversation. And to me, it's more about we got good people in that building, both on the court and off the court. So look, you're always gonna get Knicks to respond by tweeting or writing about some dumb shit to piss us off, like saying that it's Knicks fans' fault. Yeah, I'm gonna put okay, great. We want to get a New Yorker to respond. Tell them something is their fault, right? So yeah, it's always gonna be Knicks for clicks. But now it's I think writers are probably excited because it can't just be how the Knicks have no draft picks and the Knicks need to get rid of this guy. Now it's going to start being positive articles. You can't deny that when you play the Knicks, it is going to be a fight every night. And maybe we don't have it every night, but you're still going to know you were in a fight. And that's all I could ever ask for as a fan.
Good question, Brandon. I put you around the spot. Go ahead, Billy.
I'm sorry, real quick. You know who this is? This was Detroit Lions 3 years ago in the NFL, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
This was them 3 years ago. And now, they went through it's still Detroit. It's that. Now look where they're at. I think we're trending in that same way. We've been a joke they won the freaking division for the first time in 30 years. We're on that same road. You know what I'm saying? We haven't been nothing in over almost 25 years. We're on that same path to where Detroit is at, man. So it's a fun time to be a Knicks fan, man.
Yeah, right? I've said it for a while, right? And people who are baseball fans will understand this reference. Where the New York Knicks are at right now, we are where the Chicago Cubs were before they won their championship. The Chicago Cubs, they were a laughing stock, not only in baseball, but just in pop culture in general. And the Knicks have been a laughing stock in pop culture outside of basketball. And the Knicks they're trending up. Like I said, we are fourth in the East. We are in a good position right now. I know we got a few more people backstage. We got to bring you guys up as you showed up in the queue. You want to bring up the next two?
So I'm gonna bring up back there. I'm gonna bring up. I see our boy Benji is back there. Benji, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you good. Benji is in the building. What up, Benji?
What's up, guys?
I see we also got our boys from the Still Knicks fans. We got Ron and John in the building. Ron is hiding. Oh, he got the Black Panther studio on. What up, fellas? And you know what? I'm in a good mood, guys. You know what? We got more people back there. We got our boy Double A in the building. We got Worldwide L. We'll bring you in a second. I just realized we got.
You guys need entrance music at this point. We gotta go WWE straight entrance music. Is that Double A's music? Oh my god!
Hold on. I want to bring up L because I know he's working right now. Double A, just hold on 1 second. I'm gonna bring you right back. I'm gonna just bring up my guy L. I know L is at work right now. L, what's good, big bro? How you doing? Salute, my guy.
I know how I can get everybody to have a good conversation here because I was getting people tweeting at me last night. Jerry in the playback making jokes. Let's talk Grimes for a second. What better topic than with this open panel? I want to talk Grimes. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start off with you, Heck, and then throw it around. But what did you think of Grimes last night overall, bro?
Like I said earlier, Quentin Grimes, he showed up. And when we needed him to show up, right? Against the Denver Nuggets coming off of the bench last night, Quentin Grimes probably had one of his best games in a long time coming off of the bench. When you look at his stat score, the man, he played 23 minutes. He was 7 of 11 from the field, 19 points off the bench, 2 of 5 from the 3-point mark. Quentin Grimes, I know it's a love-hate relationship with Quentin Grimes. We've seen the potential from Quentin Grimes. He disappears at times, but then he shows up just like he did last night. So this is either a good thing for the bench rotation, or he's just building up his trade value so he could go away, whether in the offseason or whether at the trade deadline. So regardless of what it is, I'm happy from what we got out of Quentin Grimes.
How about you, Benji? Where you at with Grimes? You were at the game last night. I know that. How we feeling, bro?
Well, first off, I've been to all 20 home games so far. So I'm on my own personal All-Star break. I'm on my own personal All-Star break right now. But yeah, I mean, I was very critical of Grimes in terms of, I said with the pump fakes, because it's just frustrating where he just this. Just show some confidence.
That's so funny.
And Jerry, what's up, man? We coincidentally worked together on an Alienware thing like 4 years ago. So props.
I'm still rocking that. I'm staring at that computer right now, man. Alienware
I love
in the
it,
building.
man. I love it. Yeah, you were amazing. Yeah. So I mean, Quentin Grimes. I mean, I'm already kind of looking at him like as he's 1 foot out the door, and I definitely think we need to upgrade because ultimately, look, it all comes down to until we see it in the playoffs, we're always going to be skeptical, and the same goes for Julius's play too. So I think we need to go get Alec Jordan from Detroit. That would be really, really nice.
Alec Jordan.
He fits in so nice, man. Like it would just give us that extra guy that can handle the ball, get to the basket, get to the foul line. He shot 40% over the last 4 seasons, including with the Knicks. So I think he's an obvious get. Yeah, Grimes. I mean, he played really well last night. It's like he hasn't scored 19 points too often, so that was huge. I mean, some of it was kind of in garbage time, but whatever. I just got to give apologies across the board to the big sneeze, Precious Achiuwa. Like, I was so down on this guy like everybody else was, and the last 3 games, he has been so impactful on the offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even think he had this in him. He looked clueless, honestly. He looked like Ronaldo Bachman light in the games prior to that. So, like, I'm just proud of what he did, and I'm proud of Sims. Because Sims Jokic, there's like never been as big of mismatch that exists. So he really held his own. Like he was active from the start. He had like 3 rebounds in the early going. So I'm super impressed with him. I think like we really just need to make minor tweaks. Like I said, the Alec Burks trade would really be an obvious one. I don't know how you're
Benji, what are you willing to give up though for Alec? Sorry to interrupt you, but because this I think is what we're all thinking now is. It's hard to say let's upgrade this team when we just blew out Denver. It ain't always going to be like this. This was as perfect a game the Knicks could have possibly played. And I'll ask anyone on the panel, are we truly hell-bent? Like, because what you said is true. Is it worth holding pat where we are and seeing how these guys do in the playoffs? Because that really is starting to be what the Knicks are measured with as this continues. You're going to be measured with, if you become a good regular season team, then you're going to be measured on playoff games. So what are you willing to give up for Burks? Because I'm hesitant to give up Grimes in anything that's not a starter level player, because we're going to obviously throw in a million picks as well. So like, what are we willing to give up? And do we think we owe Grimes some playoff games? Like we're so far ahead of schedule. So do we stick with the plan, or are we moving the plan to like, we got to get Burks and Bogdanovich and Grimes? Like, where's your head at with that? And I asked that to the whole panel.
Yeah, and after Benji goes, we're going to throw that question around. So after Benji, would throw it to L, and then Ron, and then John, and we'll circle back up top to Billy. So go ahead, Benji.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, great question. Grimes, had a really bad playoffs last year. I think he shot it was 9 for 37 from 3, and his last shot was an air ball in that Miami game 6 down the stretch. Like the game was already over at that point. I think I'm willing to give up Grimes. I think we just have so much with Dante, my paisan. He's amazing. He's been so good this year. Again, another guy I was critical of. He's shooting 42% from 3. So I think I'm willing to hedge that bet, get rid of Grimes, and maybe in a second-round pick. I want to keep my man Evan around just for window dressing for the sake of it. keep him on the bench in case we have an injury or something. I mean, we're going to have injuries. Josh Hart looks like he's going to miss games here and there, so there's no harm in keeping Evan around. So, yeah, I think I would do Grimes in a second-round pick. Ideally, we could get something back more than Burks, like maybe Burks plus another youngish player on Detroit that they're willing to give up. I don't know if that's on the table, but I just think Burks is an easy fit. He's willing to play 18, 20 minutes, and he can kind of give us an upgrade at Grimes is just not well-rounded enough for me. But I'll pass it over to the rest of the panel. But I would do Grimes in the second rounder, maybe 2.
Copy. I'm gonna throw it over to L. But before I do that, we got over 230 people in the building. If you guys can smack that like button for you guys, and we are sitting at 3,095 subscribers on our way to 4K. Big bro L, the floor is yours. Happy New Year's, my guy.
Happy New Year's, my brothers. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Happy New Year's. Salute. I see a couple of guys I ain't been on the panel with before. Billy, Brandon, Benji, everybody else. That's my bros. Salute. It's a couple of names out there that I'll probably throw out there. Herb Jones being one. Brogdon the other one. Burks is only good because he knows the system and he knows the guys. Other than that, I wouldn't go get Burks. That's just me. I wouldn't go get Burks. It's like we already done sailed that ship already. Let that ship keep on sailing. Let's move forward, not keep bringing old players back. That's why they brought Taj in for a minute, but they had to, kick him to the curb. So my thing is like go after some new blood. Go get some new sharks out the water. You know what I mean? Bring them over here and see what they can do. As far as Grimes goes last night, I think, my one particular moment of the game last night stuck out to me within the second quarter. I think it was about 8 minutes to go, and they had just cut the lead to 11. And at that time, you could look at Tibbs. He motions to the bench. I thought he was going to call a timeout. He didn't call a timeout, but that, to me, was the crucial point of outside of him challenging for Obi. To me, when he didn't call that timeout, they came down. McBride hit the 3. They went back down. They got to stop. They came back down on the fast break, and then Grimes hit the 3. Put us up even more. We didn't turn back from that point on. So Grimes last night, he played good. My thing is I want him to be more aggressive. Heck, you and I talked about it on when you was on the show with us about the issues that we had with McBride. And a lot of issues we had with McBride was that when he was playing in the G League, he'll put up 30, 40. You know what I mean? Look like an all-star in the G League, but then come over here and lay an egg. So my thing is that's the reason why I think we need more bench help, especially somebody that can run the point off the bench. I don't think he's a point guard. I think that when he's out there, he's just flowing with the offense. So sometimes at points of the game, it gets stagnated a lot with him out there. Overall, I was joking in the chat, but overall, good win last night. Take it and go win. Go bust Miami ass tomorrow. And that'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. Busting Miami ass is better than beating Denver. To me.
Facts.
To me.
No, facts. Listen, Miami, we got that rivalry with Miami, and it goes back to the playoffs from last year. And, Knicks history, of course, in the late 90s, Miami and the New York Knicks fighting in the postseason and the playoffs. But we got to throw it over to Ron real quick. Folks in the chat as well. Give us your thoughts. What's your thoughts from last night's win? What's your thoughts from Quentin Grimes? And what are you giving up? Are you trying to get Burks? Are you trying to get Brogdon? Who are you trying to get for Quentin Grimes and some picks? Ron. Floor is yours.
What's going on, fellas? Always good to chop it up with y'all, man. Salute to Billy, Brandon, Benji, Worldwide L, Jerry, Phil, Jigga, and my brother. We didn't even talk today. Look at us chilling on the thing. I see you, John. What's going on, baby? Anyway, I think that I'm really excited. I'm really happy for what the Knicks have done since they got OG. I've been a big fan of getting OG here for the past 2 years. It shocked me. It finally happened. And they just really look good out there. It's that thing. We needed height. We got some extra height. We need a little bit extra defense. Not only did we get the extra defense, but we got one of the best defenders in the league. When you do something like that to a Knicks team that already has been known for playing decent defense and sometimes great defense with a Tom Thibodeau mind, you can't expect anything less than success. Do I think the Knicks are done or should they be done? No. I know a lot of people are a little scared. They're concerned. We won 11 of the last 13, as Billy pointed to. I like it, but this is the Jekyll and Hyde Knicks for as long as I've been a Knicks fan throughout everything, especially under Tom Thibodeau. They go up and down. There's going to be some downs that come up in the next couple, months or whatever it may be. So I think we need to be smart about it. You only have a certain window to get players in here. Trade deadline is going to come and go. So get somebody who can help, round out your bench and solidify, what we got going on and build on the weaknesses. So that way we can have some strengths there. The other thing with, as far as we're talking about Quentin Grimes, look, I've been in the Quentin Grimes, corner forever. I was the one who jumped out the window and thought maybe he could be Klay Thompson, not even realizing that he's like 6 inches, smaller than Klay or whatever it is. I don't know. I've taken a lot of bullets for Quentin Grimes, okay? And let me be the first to say I love the kid. It's time to go. Even last night, he looked great. He had 19 points. We've seen him do that before. But it's about, if he didn't have the 19 points, what else does he do? Now, you might say he had 5 rebounds. He had 4 of those rebounds in the fourth quarter against the side pieces, against the vegetables. The main dishes were already on the bench. So I'm just saying, like, I love the kid, but if you got a time where you can move him to get something to help the rest of your team, you got to go do it.
Good take. I see we got Celso back. Celso, before we throw it over to John, what's your thoughts real quick about the fellas in that question? And the chat's going wild right now. Let them know again, for those that are late to the conversation, let them know about Buy Me a Coffee real quick, what it could do with that.
Yeah, actually, guys, it's pretty cool. So literally that barcode there in the corner, just pull your phone out if you're not watching on YouTube, and you can just scan it. And literally, instead of doing a super chat where the YouTube takes 30% of every single penny you guys donate to us, this lets us keep all 95%. So it's a really good way to help us keep the lights on. So you can check that out there. We've also dropped the link in the chat. It's a great way to support. Appreciate everybody on that. But Ron, I love you, bro, because everybody got hype when Quentin Grimes hit that 3. We were already up 19 points. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I said it the other day, and I'm sticking to my guns, and people keep coming at me. Listen, I don't think Grimes is the guy. I don't. But I said it in the private chat, and I said it in the YouTube chat. The fact that when we are having these conversations about trading guys, the fact that we're talking about what bench piece should we go after, how great is that? We're not sitting here with the same boring narrative we've had for 2 seasons. Get me a star. Who's the star we're getting? No, we're talking about, hey, who can give us some extra work off that second unit? So I'm sorry, Phil, you can shake your head. I know you're about to blow me up on this one, but luckily John gets to go first. John didn't go yet. So I'm going to skip Philly. I'm going to go to John. That's my thoughts on Grimes. What up, John?
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a blast today, enjoying this Knicks conversation. We got to be more excited. Let's go Knicks, baby. We finally in the move. We finally in the right direction. It's been taking so long. I'm so excited. I'm excited about the win yesterday. I'm excited to be on a show like this, a panel like this. This is awesome. And yeah, man, looking forward to what we got going on in the next couple of games. I really want to see us go through a win streak against teams over 500. I think that's extremely important as we move into, the next phase, moving into the playoff rounds.
How many in a row have we won now?
We've won 5, right?
5.
Won 5.
Oh, no.
Let's go.
You got a big Bird is going to knock at your door, my guy, with a
lawsuit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John. My bad.
Yeah, man. It's all good, man. Yeah, sunny days is right, man. The biggest thing for me with the whole Grimes situation is that I love that he's now being impactful. He has an opportunity to show what he's worth. And if we aren't able to get a player that's at his level or higher, no need to move him. That's my opinion. My opinion, if you ain't going to go after a young, budding athlete who, and I'm not going to say star, but a budding athlete, a guy who can come off the bench and provide a substantial amount of offense and defense, no need to get rid of Grimes. But if you have a way to upgrade that position, then you do so. I'm not willing to go out and spend and shell out, 2-3 first-round picks for a guy who's coming off the bench. Not willing to do that. So unless it's like someone like the DeJounte Murray that could potentially start for your team. But outside of that, I'm not looking to bolster the starting five right now. I'm looking to bolster the bench unit. And so for me, it's a no-go unless you get the guy who's, has the upward trajectory that Grimes currently has. So with that said, man, I'm loving this panel, man. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
I want to throw one quick thing in on the Grimes, and then I'm going to get out the way again. I'm starting to think about it like this. The guy we really need to be looking at, not for trade, but like, do we want to upgrade from that spot or not? To me, it's McBride. And the way he's played, he has earned a spot, right? Mm-hmm. But to me, that second unit needs shot creation. Grimes doesn't give us that. He never has. He never will. So it's almost like you're going to trade Grimes, but you want to get a shot creator back. I just want to remind everyone, if we do get to the playoffs and that rotation is going to shrink so much, where if Grimes is if Grimes or McBride are the weakness, you will never have a minute of the game where Brunson or Randle's not on the court. It's also, think about it before you do say like trade Grimes, get Brogdon. Like I'm all for that, but just remember, it's all going to shrink down to a 7 to 8 man rotation come playoff time. And whoever you even trade for, that person might not see the floor because we know Tibbs. If it's Burks or like that player might not even see the floor because it might literally be Brunson and Randle on the court at all times. I just say keep that in mind. But I'm with you. Grimes is up or down. But I don't know. I just like all the wings we could throw at people. But that's all. I just want to throw that out to the panel.
Real quick, Phil, I'll throw it to you. I want to shout out Al Diddy in the chat. Just support us with $15 worth of coffee. Hey. Appreciate you. And he sent us a message. Appreciate what y'all are doing here. See y'all at the Magic vs. Knicks games. He's expected to see Philly in the building. Appreciate you, Al Diddy. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so the only thing I want to make sure is that we recognize is when we're talking about a Quentin Grimes for Alec Burke type trade. First, we've said it already, why go backwards? Why take a step into the past when we're doing so well moving forward? Second, what we would be doing is we have to not just look at how it benefits us, but how it benefits that team as well. Detroit is a young team, so they would want a young player like Quentin Grimes with, the potential that he has as a two-way player. Regardless, the league doesn't have a ton of two-way players, when you look at it. So him being a two-way player is something we can't ignore. But if we were to give that back, we should definitely want something more from Detroit than an Alec Burks. That should not be our hope and desire, is to get an Alec Burks. And so someone said it earlier too. Look at what he does for us off the bench. Yes, we get frustrated with his lack of confidence when it comes to shooting, and he has a great night or a mediocre night. But at the end of the day, he is the best point guard defender that we have. And we said it yesterday. We were like, our bench outscored them so much. Well, yeah, but our defense was locking down their second unit as well. So you can't only give credit on the scoring end and not on the defensive end. He gives us a lot on the defense to keep those benches from outscoring us. Because if you look, we don't have, like Jerry said, shot creators off that bench. That's something we lost when we lost IQ, was an actual bucket off the bench. So the only way we keep them from beating us and beating the pants off of us is our defense, because our offense is not beating them. So that's one thing that Grimes is giving us. So if he's one of the only young assets we still have, I'm not saying he's untouchable, but I'm saying he's definitely untouchable for an old guy that we've already had time with in Alec Burks. Get me somebody that's going to make us that much better. If we're giving out one of our only young assets, it's got to be for something. And I don't think Alec Burks is that guy. Get me something that's going to actually move that needle.
Yeah, no, I feel you, Phil. And, just another example of Phil just hating old people. He's been showing his arrogance on his sleeve this entire season when it comes to people who are older than us. But shout out to everybody that's in the building. We got over 170 people that are watching us. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button, because we are sitting at 3,097 subscribers. We are 3 away from 3,100. So if you guys can help us out, hit the sub button, join us in these conversations. We got 2 super chats. My guy Midtown, $5. Would you take a chance and put John Wall on a 10-day contract to see how he works coming off of the bench? That's interesting right there. Paris Duggar with a $5 super chat. People got to stop getting rid of our players because they're impatient with $2 million players who are helping us win games on both sides. Stop it. And then again with a $3 super chat, Grimes will be shooting 45% from the 3 by next year, y'all, or by next game, by next month, maybe. Let's see. But we're going to throw it around the panel one last time. We're going to throw it over to King Deej. Deej, he does a great work on the Knicks Twitter. I got to give you your props because I care about my mental health, right? And I see you don't value your mental health and you put yourself through Knicks Twitter. So I got to give you your props for that, being able to hold down Knicks Twitter. But no, Deej and Eddie, you guys do an amazing job. And just in general, just cover the team. So we're going to throw it over to you, Deej. What are your thoughts on Quentin Grimes last night's game and then whatever trades? And Phil, what was that last question you want to throw around for the chat? Phil is frozen, so go ahead, Deej.
All right, yo, mic check. How I'm sounding, man?
You good? Nah, you good.
First and foremost, before we get into this Knicks talk, shout out my man Heck, shout out Jigga, Phil, my man Billy right there, Benji, I see you. Everyone else new to me, but love y'all. Love the work that y'all do. I am a maniac. I love my Knicks. Jerry, not even forgetting about you. You represent the Knicks well. You see, I saved the best for last, man. I'm a maniac, but at the same time, I love this community. So that's why I keep most of my stuff in the Knick universe and on Twitter. YouTube's not my thing. I leave it to y'all kings to do that. But just wanted to give y'all some flowers. Shout out to the chat gang. Hit that thumbs up button for these boys, man. They do work. It takes a lot of work to be consistent. So I need everyone to understand that. But I love this community. I love being a Knick fan. I don't really get into the bicker and banter of like just going at each other. I kind of try to represent the Knicks in a good way. You saw I was fighting with Candace Parker. Shout out to
Chicago. He saved all that energy for that.
hey, listen, man. My energy is directed towards the opposition, not towards our community. So that's where I keep it. So as far as with the conversation that you brought up, Heck, about Grimes. Hey, listen, I'm heavy on FTK. You know, if you know it, you know. But at the same time, I mean this with all due respect. I think what a lot of Knicks fans are hesitant, and it might be PTSD. We're hesitant with like, what if it don't work? You know what I'm saying? Like we went through this literally with almost every kid that we had here prior. You know, a lot of people was against the trade. I was kind of for the trade for OG, and that's fine. At this point, it doesn't matter who was right or wrong. The only thing that matters is that the Knicks are winning. So with Grimes, he's playing well. He had a good game last night. My whole thing is like, I felt like he was pushed last year into a spot that he didn't deserve. And what I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen, is like, I feel like between Cam and Evan, Tibbs was gonna go with his, you know, the child that he loved, and that was Grimes. So he gave Q that opportunity, and he played well last year, as opposed to this season. You know, started off sluggish, then the complaints and everything. I was big on Dante DiVincenzo. I was for it in the summertime. If you follow me on Twitter, I love Dante DiVincenzo prior to his arrival with the Knicks, and it's showing it's the intelligence, and that comes with being an older player, a wiser player. So as far as Grimes is related, man, you know, wish the kid well. I wanted to bring up a name. I don't know if you guys spoke about it prior to me getting here. A shout out to y'all, but I'm at a point now, and I think DeJounte's pretty much gone. I was for that. I'm at a point now where I trust Leon Rose to do whatever he's going to do. If I had a name, I would say look at DeMar DeRozan. I know when people say like that fit is wacky. I don't think it's that crazy now with OG. I think it's very like he kind of fits. I would even, if I could, I don't know how much he would be for it, but from what we hear about him, team player, big on mental health, big on team winning. Ask those kids in Chicago how much they like DeMar over Zach LaVine. Like, I think if you could try to sell DeMar DeRozan on, hey, some games you could start, but we love what Dante does with the floor space and the shooting. maybe you could come off the bench. That would be a dangerous 6-man. We're talking about an all-star level player that could be. Last night, he had 30 and 10. He had 30 points, 10 assists against the Lakers. So if you have him as your primary ball handler with that bench unit, if you could sell it to him, McBride could shoot off that catch and shoot. You got Josh Hart. He likes to go do his thing, driving lanes. He doesn't settle for the shot. So that would be my one name as a suggestion. I don't know how you guys feel about it, so I'll shut up and listen. But again, I'm here to support y'all, man. I love this community. I love all y'all. Even if we haven't spoken, if you're a Knicks fan, I rock with you, man. I love this community. It's nothing but love. Phil's my guy. I tell him all the time, man. Yo, heck, if there was one team that I was going to join in this Knicks Twitterverse, y'all got it. Y'all got it.
Well, it's an open door policy for you, Deej, over here. You're a part of the familiar, in this crazy world that we call the Knicks universe that we all navigate in. But when it comes to DeMar, I like that idea of DeMar DeRozan coming off for the bench. I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. Jerry, I'll throw it over to you. What's your thoughts on Deej's idea of DeMar coming off of the bench? And then we could just, if you got a rapid fire question, just to go around to the chat afterwards, so we could get ready to wrap things up. We'll throw it over to Billy after.
Man, look, I really think this is a pivotal time for the Knicks. Not in the long term, but I think it's just going to be really interesting if to make a move or not. It's how do you I get it. Like there is an upgrade that needs to be made. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo he's the second best 3-point shooter in the league. The thing I've been screaming about since the beginning of the season is this team needs 3-point shooting to free up Brunson and Randle. And when we had Mitchell Robinson in the paint, like 3-point shooting to me is something we've always lacked. And we now have the second best 3-point shooter in the league. So I love DeMar, and I do think like when the playoff games come and this shrinks and you need to get a fourth quarter bucket, DeMar, it could get you that. I don't know if I'm making a move at this point, fellas. And if we lose to Miami Saturday, I'll probably double back quick and say we gotta get Brogdon or DeMar in here tomorrow. But these guys are earning their place. They just are earning the spots. We're watching it in front of our eyes. But there is blood in the water in the East. Porzingis turned an ankle last night. I'm not rooting for injuries. The Celtics are fantastic. Are they bulletproof yet? We'll see. We could beat the Bucks. We could beat Philly. There is blood in the water. So is this the time to push the chips all in and just go for it, or hold, see what these guys do in the playoffs, and have another great offseason? Either way, these are two fantastic places to be. So stay positive. I just don't know. I'm torn, man. I want to stay where we're at, but there is blood in the water in the East. That is for sure.
We haven't played Boston since the OG trade, so we got to see what we look like against Boston with OG in that starting lineup. Phil, throw it over to you, and then let's throw it around to the fellas to close us out, and throw it over to Billy afterwards.
See, I think that's where I line up with Deej and Eddie most when they talk about their trades till about 5 a.m. I fall asleep to their chats around 12:30, 12:45, wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom. They're still on Twitter. It's crazy. But typically that's where I fall in. If you guys remember last season, even with the season before when we were doing the other show, I was talking about how we made a huge mistake in getting Fournier over DeMar DeRozan when we had both opportunities on the table. And then things changed with the addition of Jalen Brunson, and even more so with OG. So it was like, dang, how does DeRozan fit? But the idea of him being a sixth man is the most perfect scenario, because like Jerry said, we're not messing with the fact that we have Dante DiVincenzo, one of the best 3-point shooters, like still in that starting lineup, which is great. But DeMar DeRozan, you got to look. Yes, he's all-star caliber player, this, that, whatever. Would he want to come off the bench? We also have to look at the fact that he's 35 years old and he hasn't won anything, and that Chicago is not winning anything. He went to Chicago with this idea of him, Ball, Vucevic, Levine, them taking over, and that fell apart completely. So now he's got to get in on a team that he can actually, win with. But he also wants to be on a team where he still brings value. Like there's a lot of teams that he can go to just to get a ring, but if he doesn't really contribute to it, DeMar's not the kind of guy that's going to feel satisfied. If he came in and was able to be our sixth man and fix the issue that we have when it comes to scoring off the bench, that would be something that helps him feel like he is still that all-star caliber player, but also takes us to that next level. And then also with that, like, it gives him assurance moving forward. Like, you see us move to like the third spot. Let's say we knock out the Sixers and we get that third spot. Being a sixth man for the Knicks is going to look a lot more appealing than it would have in the start of the year, you know? So I would totally take DeMar DeRozan off the bench. And if you're giving up a Fournier contract and some picks because Chicago has to rebuild now, I would do it in a heartbeat.
So, guys, real quick, and we'll keep going around the room because we were going to do a hard stop at 12:45 because I know we had other engagements, but the panel's still going lit, so I want to keep it going. Jerry, you have that 12:45 appointment, and this is literally 30 seconds away from it, bro. So I just want to thank Jerry for hanging out on Friday open panel with all of us, chopping it up. And look, the Mannix situation, I'm going back to it. You freaking killed it, Jerry. Screw him. It's over. Jerry, bro, we love you. Later,
enjoy bro. Panel Fridays are the best. That's why everyone's trying to copy this, keep this format, and it's you, the fan, that makes these panels dope. Billy, we definitely got to talk more too off air. Got more takes. Phil, I love you, bro. There's no way in hell DeMar DeRozan's coming off the bench. It's never happening.
We also said there was no way in hell we were trading with the Raptors. All right, and now OG Anunoby is the best thing that's how we get him.
That's how we get him. I don't want my guy Dante going 1 for 4 and then Tibbs pulls him and shatters his comments. Love you all. Knicks Universe, we got this. Enjoy. Friday panel. Yes.
Shout out our guy Jerry and shout out everybody out there in
I
the Knicks Universe.
Delano Steele just dropped a coffee for us and said a cup of Joe from your favorite troll. Appreciate you. And Deej, I wasn't here when you first came up, bro. The Knicks at night. Killing it, bro. Last night, look, I'm not gonna lie. I get nervous with the Twitter spaces, right? I don't come up, I don't talk, and it's not nerves, it's just I know how it gets. But Deej, I was in there on that creeper mode last night, okay? And the way that you hold it down, bro, the clips, the audio, you keep them maintaining. There's Twitter spaces, Billy, you know, you seen them, bro, where it's just dog shit. You're like, what are you talking about? You don't know when to mute people, everybody talking, but y'all, you guys really hold it down. You and Eddie been killing it. Billy, your space is the same. So I just want to make sure I showed that love. If you're a Knicks fan and you up and you're like, I got insomnia, I can't sleep, I promise y'all, Deej and Eddie are going for like 10 hours. You have all the time in the world with that Nick at night. And I love how Jerry exited with no, Phil, we ain't getting him. Move on. Did we get Billy's take on it? Where are you at with the question, Billy?
Shout out to my man Deej and everybody on the panel, man. I haven't spoken to, been on here with, and appreciate y'all. This is dope. This is real dope combo. I got two sides to it. I'm gonna talk on one side of the coin. This was presented about a month ago. I think it was in D's space, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody said this about a month ago about DeMar DeRozan coming to the Knicks, coming off the bench. And I immediately jumped up in the speakers and told that dude, man, shut the hell up. Hell no. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Awesome. You know, you got before I think type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And look, I'm a Knicks fan. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, I'm going to speak first before I think. But then I started thinking, and I mentioned this. I mentioned this morning in the chat because I've been real heavy on DeJounte Murray, and then I was like, getting OG was an infinity stone for you Marvel fans. You know what I'm talking about. You know, he opened up a lot of areas for us to get OG. You know, arguably one of the best perimeter, if not the best perimeter defensive guy in the game. I know the Pacers were trying to get OG and Siakam. Do we really need DeJounte with the way this team is rolling right now, or do we need somebody in the half-court offense that's more, you know, that assists with mid-range shooting and stuff like that? Now, with that being said, I don't want Dante to go to the bench, but I wouldn't mind it because Dante's a starter, but he still plays bench minutes. You know what I'm saying? He's not playing them big starter minutes like you usually do. That's why Tibbs kills me with that. He can go 4 for 4 and he'll take him right out. But I'm not opposed to it as I was from the beginning about DeMar DeRozan, especially being the sixth man. Do you have to sell it to him? You absolutely have to sell it to him. But then I go back to a few years ago where I think about Andre Iguodala when he went to Golden State and what that did for that squad. You know what I'm saying? Similar situation. I'm not saying we're nothing like that, but I'm just saying the similar scenario around it. So I'm not opposed to it, man. If we don't get Murray, DeRozan was always my second guy to get anyway. And as far as that role player, I was like, I think it was L who said it earlier. We all Knicks fans, a lot of them, especially on Twitter, want to bring back old players that used to play for us. I think the most reasonable and realistic one is Malcolm Brogdon, just because of the history that we worked with Portland in the past, i.e. last year getting Josh Hart. I think, it's easy for us to work with teams that we've done before. I know we worked with Detroit and we worked with Atlanta as well, but I think if anybody, Brogdon. But I'm opposed to getting a guy that, he can check more than one block. If he can't do it, he does best in scoring, how is he going to impact the team? And that's what I look at when I'm talking about bringing guys in like that. I appreciate you.
Let me ask you, Billy, and I'm going to throw it to the panel too. And chat, I want your opinion on it too. Am I crazy though, and also sitting in the world and saying, look at what we've been doing? Do we really even need another move? Again, would you be devastated if we didn't go make another move? Because here's the thing. The last 2 weeks, we've been talking about, we need another center. Well, look, we were without our centers, right? And Precious is stepping up a bit, right? Sims looked decent last night. We dog walked the Nuggets. So it's again, it goes back to the fact that we did that trade so early. We've been able to sit here and kind of talk out the narratives just by watching our team play. To me, it's if you are going to make that move, maybe it is more of a facilitator off the bench, right? To me, we need another backup center. That conversation should be put to rest already. So would you guys really be upset if we didn't make another move with the squad we have right now?
I wouldn't be upset, but I've seen this movie before as a longtime Knicks fan.
Fair.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen this before. No, I didn't mean to shatter it, but I'm just saying it's recency bias because we won 11 out of 13. You know what I'm saying? And we're riding a high wave as far as Knicks fans. It's a great time to be a Knicks fan, but you still got to be objective and be like, there's always room for improvement. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I'm gonna try to keep this short so I can get the other guys in here. I know we got Mitchell Robinson. People think Mitchell Robinson's coming back. I wouldn't be so quick in a hurry to bring him back, because if Randle had an ankle injury and it took him a while to get things back in motion, Mitchell Robinson's not going to be the same guy as a 7-foot guy with that, more injured ankle, surgically repaired ankle. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take him a little longer as a 7-foot guy. I still think we need to weigh all of our options and make one more move. And, we're doing great right now. But, I saw Denver, while in the finals, make a trade between games 3 and 4 because they're still trying to improve their team. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's always room for improvement. And I feel you. Not a lot of people say, man, let's just see what happens. I've seen this movie before. So I think if we can do it, let's do it.
I got to get ready to head out, so I just want to chime in on that real quick before I dip. Thank you all on the panel, everyone in the chat. Appreciate all you guys. Only thing I'll say is I wouldn't be disappointed if we don't do something. I won't be disappointed. However, I would rather be able to say that we made the move and we still missed out than we didn't make any move and that's why we missed out. I would at least want to try and do everything we can to get us to that next spot and then say we did everything we could. It didn't work out next year, as opposed to next year, but we should have done something this year and we didn't, So because I'm excited about games like yesterday, but I don't feel like it has to be either or, that you're excited so you can't think anything else. I can be excited about what we saw. I can be excited about what we did against the 76ers and against the Wolves, but I can also see the games that we were completely healthy and Luka Doncic was out and we lost, to a team that was, insufficient when it came to the Mavericks. There's still things that can be improved. So I don't want to just enjoy and then not look for improvements, but I also don't want improvements so much that I can't enjoy. There has to be a middle ground. So I think we should make a little bit of change, especially off the bench. I don't think we need someone to redeem our starting lineup. Our starting lineup is thriving right now. I don't want to throw a wrench in the works on that, but it's proven. We do have nights where we do shut down a bench unit, but we're not a thriving offensive bench unit by any means of the word right now. So improve that, make a small change, and then see what happens. But appreciate all you guys. I'm going to go shoot this wedding. Talk to you guys later.
Get to work, Philly.
Later, guys.
Later,
Love
Phil.
you, bro. All right, so we're about to wrap up. So before we do, let's just stick with that right there. We'll go around the horn. Oh, Benji, you're out there. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing up there? You good? Hey, so that's the question. Make a move or not? And if they don't, are you upset? Ron, take it away.
Look, let me just say it. If we're being real, I'm just going to tell you, for me being a Knicks fan since the early 90s, they don't make a move. I'm cool. I'm used to the Knicks not making a move. But if you're in a position where the team is doing well and you got assets and the ability to make a move, then I say make the move. I mean, I don't know. I'm just so used to my favorite teams not doing something because they can't, and then to have a team that can do something and get better, but I'm trusting the front office. That's the one thing I know. It sounds crazy. Knicks fan base is losing their mind. What? Trust the front office? No. Now listen, I'm trusting the front office that they actually, when they make a move, they think about it and they do their due diligence. So they don't want to upset the chemistry that's going on with the team either. So I think that if they do make a move, I think it'll be the right move. So that's why I'm saying, if you can make the move, make the move. Because I trust that they'll make the right move. I don't think they just go into things. And we talked about it. I mentioned it. I don't know if it was on your show, my own show. Every time we think they're going to do something, they don't do what we think. They're going to get somebody we not even think. They get Josh Hart. They get OG. They get guys that we're not even thinking that that's who they think they're going to bring in. So I'm trusting the front office that if they make the move, it'll be the right move. And if they don't, they don't. I'm used to this team is a good team. We can go to war with this team any day of the week. I'm fine with it. They just have to play the way they played last night. And that's the key. Last night was start to finish. Defense, offense, effort. That's all that matters. The Knicks give that, they could win any given night. So I'm happy with the team.
I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of that right there. That was dope. I'm gonna swap Ron and I'm gonna put Benji. Go ahead, man. Give us your take.
What's up? What's up, Deej? Deej is literally smoking on that Nuggets pack, which is great. Yeah, man. Much love for y'all. Love the Knicks community. Like, it's the best when we come together for this, especially like after a win like last night. Another guy I want to throw into the mix, Tyus Jones. I know it's not like a realistic rumor, but I think he would be a good addition. DeMar DeRozan, yeah, and it would be really exciting to get him. I just don't think it works. He plays 37 minutes a game. He's older. He doesn't fit our timeline, even though Burks is old too, but little younger. I just feel like you're not going to disrupt anything we currently have. So I think you add a Burks and swap out a Grimes. That doesn't disrupt anything, or you get a Tyus Jones for a Grimes in a second round, or same thing. My biggest worry is we fast forward to a second round playoff series. We're in the pressure cooker, right? Sweating it out, all stressed out. And we need shot creation, and we're relying on Hart, Grimes, Precious Achua, and add on, and then we can't get a shot, and we're having the same issues we had last season against Miami in the playoffs. So that's my biggest worry. So you get a Burks, you get a Tyus Jones, maybe that at least gives us some reinforcements. I just want to have some reinforcements, man. We don't even have to make any major decisions. We don't have to add DeMar DeRozan, as exciting as it would be. I just would get. I think Burks is a logical fit. I think we got to make a move. I think. We've been very fortunate. Keep in mind, this isn't talked about a lot. We've been incredibly fortunate with our health this season and in past seasons. Like iHeart played every game for a year and a half until the last 2 games. Obviously, Randle's played every game. Brunson's played, I think, every game but 2. So we've been very fortunate, even just to get us through like the brunt of the regular season. I think would be really, really key to get some reinforcements. So we don't need to mess anything up. We don't need to give anything up beyond Grimes and a second round pick, or even 2 second-round picks, however you want to do it. But that's what I would do. Love the discussion. We'll tune back in and hear what you guys say.
Appreciate you, Benji.
Home game tomorrow against Miami. I really, really, really want to smoke them. If we
win
going
tomorrow, you're on your All-Star break, right?
No, I'm going. I'll be at every game. I'm only missing the Celtics game and the Pistons game because I'll be in Florida. But outside of that, I'll be at every home game.
Nice.
But yeah, we're in a great position, man. Imagine if we're sitting here Monday talking about how we smoked Miami by 30. Can
The
you
open
even
panel on
fathom
Monday
that?
is going to be fantastic, bro. You think this was good? It's going to be nuts on Monday. Great take, Benji. Brandon, you were the first one to come up the panel, and you have been just so good, just quiet, just sitting there like, someone pick me at some point, damn it. Hey, Brandon, you're up, bro. Go ahead. Give us your take.
Excuse me. I think what it boils down to for me is, it just has to fit, right? It's like the saying, if the shoe fits, the shoe fits, where it's like, we can talk about getting all these additions, whether it's another ball handler, whether it's another scorer, whether it's even another center, right? But it's just going to come down to what other teams are asking. And we've seen this time and time again, especially when it comes to the Knicks. It seems like for whatever reason, other teams try to skyrocket that price on them. It's like the Knicks tax. And I know that's something that is sometimes a bit contentious, but it feels like that is the case at times. So if they do make an addition, right, I'm going to be thrilled. Like, I do think, there may be one more move away from being like that legitimate contender. But if they decide that this is the team they want to run with, they want to see how it fares, and then they make the moves in the offseason, I'm not going to hate it. I mean, it's been reiterated, but I trust this front office. I trust what they're doing. And honestly, I'm really excited to see where they go forward from here, regardless of what they do.
Nice. Dropping the facts. Who we got? We got John. Let me get yours, Brandon. Appreciate you, bro. Glad you were able to pop on. We'll see you soon. All right, John, give it to us. And hold on real quick, John. Double A. Saw the comment in the chat, bro. Get up here. Don't know what happened, where the disconnect was, but you were on the panel and then you were gone. So let's get him back up here. Oops, wrong button. All right, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm saying make a trade, man. I don't care what we do this year. I'm looking for a trade. I'm not stopping. I want to be a contender. This is our opportunity to do so. Let's stop waiting around, holding on the picks for no reason. What are we going to do? Wait for the offseason to offload 9 picks? Like, it don't make no sense. If we ain't going to use them, why have them? So for me, it's about making the adjustments, always getting better, continue to get better, make the adjustments we need to be a contending playoff team and potentially a championship team, because that's what we're all looking for right now. It's time to do that now. It's no waiting. We waited it long enough. So for me, make it trade, make it work, and yeah, man, we're off to the races. That's what I'm here for.
Let's go, John. Appreciate you, bro. If you guys in the chat don't know, you better go check out Ron and John, the still Knicks fans. Let's go. Appreciate you, John. All right, Deej. One more to go, and then we're going to wrap it up. Talk to me.
Hey, man. Shout out to one of the best shows on YouTube, man. Jigga, Heck, Phil.
Appreciate
my man, Eddie. Every day I hear Eddie. Deej, we're one move away. We're one move away, Deej. Just one. And, hey, listen, I'm going to pick up where I left off. Shout out to my guy, Billy. That's my sensei. We talk about it every day, man. I hear the hesitation. Obviously, like I said, it's probably a little bit of Knicks fan PTSD, but I'm big on this team. I trust in Leon Rose, whatever he's gonna do. I got to get that out the way. But make the move, man. For whatever or whoever it is, just make the move. Only because of the simple fact you got Evan Fournier just sitting right there. Like, he's not gonna be as critical or as useful, in my opinion, next season as he is this season. You got a lot of teams trying to drop dead money. You got a lot of teams. They're going to be stuck in cap hell. So make the move. And whatever move that is, whether it's DeMar, I just brought up his suggestion. I'm big on DeJounte. I think that might be on the way out. I know Billy was with it too. But whatever move they make, Heck, Jigga, Billy, I'm cool with, man. So, again, I love this community. I love this fan base. Morning Brew. You know where I'm at with it. If you need me for a max contract in the offseason, I got you. My league is
I'm just gonna say, rumor has it front offices have been
It's
talking.
in the works.
There's
It's in the
some
works.
picks involved, but we'll hold it there.
Hey,
Billy.
Hey, Jigga. Phil and Eddie, man, every day. Deej, that's all I can say, man. But shout out to you.
Appreciate you, Deej. All right, Billy. We had you on here for the spotlight today with us, man, as our content guy. But you know how it gets when that open panel comes, man. We end up sitting here and listening to everybody, right? But good convo today.
Man, I enjoyed it, man. I appreciate y'all having me. Shout out to you, Heck. You, Jig. Shout out to you, Ron. Jerry, Phil, everybody, man. So hey, it was all love, man. I enjoyed it. No complaints at all. It was dope, man. Dope show. Dope panel.
Appreciate you, Billy. Well, everybody in the chat, man, thank you guys so much for rocking with us for like, oh, wait, hold on. Go ahead, Ron.
No, I just wanted to say, I love the Knicks community, YouTube, Twitter, everybody. And Twitter space is just too crazy for me. I'd be like Jigga. I'd be in the spaces just quiet because it's not that I can't talk or hold my own, but it's too confrontational sometimes, these different spaces. So I don't know if Billy noticed, like I jumped into his space the other day because I respect Billy's take and I know how he holds it down. So I will jump into spaces when I think the space makes sense and I know a person is controlling it. So keep doing what you're doing, Billy. I mean, I love the stuff.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that, man. Thank
you.
Everybody in the building,
I feel
big
the same
hell
way
over.
Ron feels about Twitter Space.
Hector be sending me screenshots like, I'm not going in there. I'm not going in there.
Appreciate
everybody rocking with us over 2 hours. We had 179 plus on YouTube, all episode long. Appreciate everybody hanging out, all the support you showed. Double A, I'm saying it publicly. No idea what happened. We would never disrespect you. You are our ride or die. So Double A, you have my word. The very first person this Monday on open panel with a 10-minute Double A window is Double A. Okay? Make sure it's
I have no idea what happened. Sorry about that, Double A.
For real. Appreciate everybody rocking with us. And I'm going to end it on this note. Can we please go beat the living shit out of the Heat tomorrow? Deuces!